So guys, we have had 2 big rainstorms now that June has started. How crazy is that? I am loving it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Schmidita Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today I am going to give you guys a couple of tips of one, why I'm not surprised on the rain that we are getting, and 2, how to better serve your garden during this time of abundance of rain. Okay guys, so we have had 2 big rainstorms already now in the month of June, which is crazy because June has just started. So I did a little quick video right after the second rainstorm, so I'm going to show you guys that, and then we're going to come back and talk about a couple of tips. Okay guys, this is day 2 in like 3 days of Arizona rain. And when I mean Arizona rain, I mean monsoon rain, which is nice because it's July. Normally July has been hot and dry and terrible for the past couple of years, but every couple of years, like every several years-ish, it does this, and it's nice because it kind of rehydrates everything that you need. Now look at that, we have some black eyed peas coming in. We were able to save a lot of water, so I'm going to be putting a lid on these to kind of be watering things as we kind of go along with rainwater before tap water. My poor pepper plants got all their leaves knocked off there because the water was coming down pretty hard. But everything else out here is really, really happy. Now this is going to do amazing things for my soil, and it's going to do amazing things for my plants. But as you guys know, I wasn't planting my garden this year to focus on harvest or anything like that. In fact, this time of the garden season, I literally just focus on my soil and getting my soil nice and healthy. So that is what we're doing. We're going to talk about some things that I do. I need to pick that okra over there because that's pretty big. Oh, and there's another one right there, so that's nice. Get some Armenian cucumbers going. Hopefully those got fertilized because I would love some Armenian cucumbers. But yeah, we're going to talk about what I'm doing, some things that are going great, some things that are going wrong, and why we just let the garden be this year in like the cycle of a Schmidita cycle. So let's talk about it. So if you guys aren't aware, I am a Jewish gardener, and I try to follow a lot of the commandments or mitzvahs, and one of them talks about the Schmidita year and how you're supposed to let your ground lay on the 7th year. That is the earth's rest year. So I like to deep dive and because I'm a very curious person, so I like to deep dive and see why something is something. Like if it's a commandment, why is it a commandment? So one of the things that I've been doing is kind of researching and looking at what all entails with a Schmidita year, like those 7 years, and what are those years like. And I found consistent patterns, which is why when I started this garden, I said in the beginning, if you guys watched my early videos, that this is the third or the second-ish third, so a Jewish calendar is different than an American calendar. So it's kind of like our year starts in Rosh Hashanah, the fall versus the January. So that's why sometimes I get confused with what year I'm actually in. But it's around the second-ish, beginning of the 3rd year. And what really happens in my garden is, one, we get a lot of rain, and I've looked at it back on the past 3 years, which is kind of or 3 cycles, 7-year cycles, which is kind of how I got this data. And I realized that during this time, I'm going to get a lot of rain. So if you guys look back on my videos in the past of this, when I started this garden, you hear me say a lot of how I'm not really committed to seed saving in this garden. I'm not committed to having any type of bulk harvest. And I'm just letting the garden grow what it's going to grow, and we're going to eat what the garden provides us. Now, why did I say that? I said that because I know that there's going to be a lot of water, like a lot of monsoon, a lot of water, which that's what happened right now in June. Yes, we're going to get back up to the triple digits today, I believe, but these first couple of days of June have been in the 90s, like 90s and 80s, and it has been soaked. Like it rained for 5 hours the first time, and it rained for 6 hours the second time. Now, this could mean a lot of like powdery mildew, like all the different types of things like that. So one of the things that I suggest that when you have these big rains as a desert gardener, open up your garden. So open up your garden and let it dry out. Usually, typically the day following isn't burning hot. So if you have your garden really established and you're not trying to do this with like new baby starts, which I wouldn't suggest doing this with new baby starts anyway, but open up your garden, let it dry out. Take off that shade cloth, let it dry out, because if not, you're gonna get powdery mildew, especially on all of like their cucumbers, my Armenian cucumber, your okra, all those different types of things will be covered in powdery mildew if you don't allow that airflow and for things to dry out in your garden. So that's one of my major tips. The next thing is I don't seed save during this time because the wind is crazy. The wind is insane, guys. Like it is blowing things all over the place. I grow in a small space garden, which means I need to seed save on years that are going to be very calm, meaning that it's just not going to be huge like, you know, windstorms and all that kind of stuff. So this year I don't do that because I know that the wind is going to be insane, and it has. Like it almost blew over my big mulberry tree, which is huge, but the pot was completely coming off of the ground. That's how bad the wind was blowing. So this time of the year when we have really good monsoons, I don't really seed save because I know that everything's going to be like probably mixed pollinated and all those different types of things growing in such a small space. Next thing is going to be bulk harvesting. I'm not worried about filling my freezers or anything like that. I did that last season. If you guys remember, I had abundance of different things, and that is one of the years that I fill my freezer. I get all the greens that I need, all the tomatoes that I need, all those different things like that, and I make sure that I save them. And that gives me this year where I can just eat fresh out of the garden. And there's no guarantee what's going to be coming out of this garden because the winds are crazy, so sometimes they rip up your plants. There's a lot of rain, so you might get diseases in your plants. Like as you guys can see, my tomatoes were not even trying this year. They just did not happen, and that's fine because I have a bunch of stuff that I saved from last year. Now the year after this, like the season after this, yes, I will be starting to harvest again and get things in the freezer, fill up the pantry, all those different things when it comes time for my fall garden, because with all of this rain, I am going to have the healthiest soil ever, like ever. So that brings me to my next point. So with that, I don't try and pack as much stuff as I can into my garden beds. Now it might look like I have a lot of stuff going because there is a lot of stuff going, but when something dies off, I don't necessarily replace it right away. I will be starting a monsoon garden that will have different things in there, but for right now, if something dies off, I just let that spot go and I fill it up with like some more compost or soil or whatever it needs at the time, and then I just let that get ready and I let all that rainwater soak down into my soil. One of the best things for your plants is going to be rainwater. If you guys realize that when it rains, your garden goes like it just explodes, it gets crazy because there's so much nitrogen in rain. I think it's nitrogen in thunder. That's what like gives your garden nitrogen or gives the soil nitrogen. So I want my soil to be as exposed as possible. So I try to like make sure everything's kind of like contained and that everything is getting watered. So that brings me to the last point, which is when it rains, yes, you come out here and you uncover that garden. You take off the shade cloth, you put down the umbrellas, and you save water. I have like little buckets of water everywhere so that then I can continue to water my garden with as much of that rainwater that I can while we have it. Now one day, once we get like a little bit more set up out on our homestead, I will be able to save water. As you guys know, we have the big water cisterns. They are up there, they're ready. We just don't have a structure that can funnel the water into them, but One day we will soon have that. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Hope it was fun. Hope you guys are gardening. And desert gardeners, I hope you are enjoying the rain. We need it. It's time. But until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.